Cool. We are live.
All right, welcome everybody. It is another episode of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. Joined with a man who has beaten the sun in a staring contest. Brian, how are you?
Yeah, other than the retinal burns, I'm doing all right. Can't see too well right now, but it was just an intense contest.
But you came out on top, and it was
I
totally worth it.
I did come out on top.
One for the history books. Man, tonight is a busy night. We already had one League One match. We've got the US match going right now. Um, in my universe, drum corps started tonight, so there's performances happening as we speak. And the NHL draft is tonight. Connor Bedard is officially a Blackhawk now, so there's a lot going on tonight. It's a
Hmm.
busy night.
And they say sports is dead in the summer.
No
Shh,
kidding.
whatever.
Well, you
Making
already took
stuff
a
up.
sip. What are you drinking tonight?
So tonight I am sporting some Rieger's Irish whiskey or Kansas City whiskey, and it is the actual Kansas City limited release version that my brother got me when he was down in Kansas City for Christmas. So I decided to break into it, and it's pretty damn good, I must admit.
That's so cool. Nice. How's it taste?
It's phenomenal. And I'm
Yeah,
usually like an Irish whiskey guy, but this is rather smooth.
that's a large glass of it too. You're going
Yeah,
head
I
first
went.
on that stuff, man.
I mean, I did put a little bit of some water in it too, just because
Okay.
I don't just drink. I can't just sip on straight whiskey all night. I got to cut it a little bit. Some of the purists out there are already throwing their phones across the room or smashing their laptop, but I apologize.
I have a coworker who found out that I like to drink scotch, whiskey. Scotch is whiskey. I know that, folks, but
all, all
he
scotch is whiskey, but not all whiskey is scotch.
exactly there you go. So he found out that I like to drink that stuff, and he said, "So how many cubes do you put in?" And I said, "No, I drink it neat." And the look on his face was like pure astonishment. You drink it neat? Yeah.
You're a brave man, Rich. Talking about me staring at the sun and you just sipping on scotch neat.
Well, tonight I'm not going as hard as you. I've got the bush again. But I'm gonna go fast with this one because I only have 3 koozies, and so I need to
Three
down one really
koozies
quick.
and 4 beers. It's a classic. Classic. But yeah, I mean, it's been this weekend was rather intense in League One action.
Oh,
Quite a few matches. We've got some very crazy stuff going on. Our first 4 goal performance. So we've also kind of figured out the table. And if you remember back to our beginning of the season podcast, and we were talking about our average points per match. Some teams are starting to distinguish themselves. Remember, we said about that 1.5 level is where you needed to be at to possibly break into the playoffs, and that's about where it's sitting right now in your average points per match for the top 6.
sure is. Oh man, that carbonation. I just chugged that guy and the carbonation's hitting me. But yeah, you're right. Once you get to around that point and a half um points per match mark, that's when you're sitting right at the playoff threshold, and that's going to be a close competition because one Knox is at 1.4, Richmond's at 1.4, Greenville's at 1.36.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very tight race. And then you have to factor in all of the um, games in hand. Now, shut up, Alexa or Siri. Um, and we already figured in the games in hand because we just divided the points by the amount of matches they've played. But moving forward, I mean, those games in hand are going to be crucial
Oh yeah.
to a team's final standing. I mean, you
Hmm.
look at Union Omaha right now, they have 2 games in hand, and if they win those 2 games in hand, they're back in the playoff,
Hmm.
back above that threshold. Um, Tormenta lost tonight, so they're still below the threshold. So, I mean, this is, we're I don't necessarily think it's crunch time just yet, but some of those teams are starting to feel that crunch.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a few teams that if they don't start winning matches, they're in dire trouble. It was just like what you said last week with Union Omaha. I mean, if Union Omaha would have not won the match against Tormenta, I mean, it would have almost been curtains for their playoff chances. So
Yeah, and I stand by what I said.
it's fair. It's a good take.
Yeah.
So we do have Tim jumping in with the live chat. Always good to hear from you, Tim, with Ranting Blue Penguin Media. And he says, Rich, you got to stop with the bush light. It does not seem to agree with you. But he
Yeah,
also hears that the hot shots don't have any carbonation. So you could just down one of those.
yes. We'll be drinking one of those here very shortly. Uh Brian, I I was watching those videos again today, and I thought to myself, I should buy one for Brian and I so we can down one of those at the very beginning of an episode.
All right, let's do it. That's fine.
Okay, cool. All right. I'll jump on
Yeah,
online tonight and buy a couple for us.
awesome. Um, yeah, Tim also again. Thanks, Tim, coming in big time already. Tormento's starting to waggle like a bolt that lost its nut, and yeah, they did not look great tonight. Granted, that has a lot to do with Madison being a very well-rounded team right now. Um, so that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, something about Tormenta right now ain't right.
Um Kingsford Aj had a chance to score a goal in the first half, and he hit the crossbar, and then Dalton Knutson had a chance in the second half on a corner kick,
Hmm.
but couldn't finish it. And then who was the other one? Uh, was it McQuilly Akale there in late in the second half? I think
Leighton, yeah, yep, in
he
the
had that
late,
curler on the back post.
yep, that just
So
went wide left.
yeah, or
Hmm.
it was Burn Shipman who deflected it wide left. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, US just scored. So Tormenta had their chances, but they just couldn't put it away. And Madison, yeah, they were another strong performance from that win. Makes it like a 4-game winning streak for them. That's crazy.
Yeah, they ain't nothing to mess with right now. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
So yeah, now that we've posted the our power rankings, I feel like we should revise that. And like Tim was saying in the thread there, we should probably switch Charlotte and Madison because oof man, Madison is they're showing up.
Yeah,
So
they
Madison currently sits at 25 points and they are at the top of the league.
yeah, and Tim coming in and saying this is the first time in club history they've been the top of the table, or
I
so he's
was
read on Twitter. But
I was planning on checking to see when the last time they were number one is. So yeah, I'm glad he beat me to it.
mhm,
I didn't have time with all the last second prep.
yeah, well, yeah, we've got quite a bit of matches to get into from
Yeah.
week 15 here. 7 matches in total. So um,
So if you hear first off, I have low Wi-Fi setting tonight, and so people, if you don't hear my voice for a little bit, it's just because I dropped off temporarily. I'm going to jump back in here as soon as I can. I also have a spider that keeps. I don't know how it finds me, but it keeps finding me and crawling on me, and I keep like shooing it away. I'm gonna have to kill it one of these times.
mhm,
But my next step, as everyone knows, is just to burn the house down.
true.
That's obviously the next logical step.
It is, yeah. I mean, that's what any sane person would do.
Yeah. I tried to lay down for a nap earlier today, and lo and behold, there it was again. It was crawling on me again. I tried to pull the sheets over me, and boom, it was crawling on me.
Man, no bueno. I don't like
Yeah,
that.
no bueno. US just scored again, man. So I wrote a haiku for week 15, something new for this week.
All right.
Um, so looking at the results, I was trying to be a little creative with this. So my haiku is Liam scores again, one more penalty for Knox, and table 2 close to call.
I like it.
So that's my week 15 haiku.
Man, yeah, I'm not a big poetry guy, but that moved me. I'm on the verge of tears right now. So
I can see the tears.
yeah,
You have that big box of Kleenexes next to you. I know that's what you're using them for. So
yeah. Okay,
all right, let's jump in first.
we talk
So
about soccer on this show, ladies and gentlemen.
in week 15, we had 3 clubs who played twice. We had Chattanooga Red Wolves, we had Union Omaha, and we had one Knox. There was only one club who had a bye week, and that was North Carolina. So the first match of the week, man, this was a doozy. It was Wednesday night, first one of the evening. Greenville hosting Chattanooga,
Mhm.
and that team just never stopped taking their foot off the gas. I guess I should say Liam McKinnon never stopped taking his foot off the gas.
Yep.
As Brian said, first player in League One history to score 4 goals in a single match, and he had the quickest hat trick in League One history. This guy had an incredible performance.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah.
And
He just completely insane. I mean, it. Let's see. That was uh, 13 minutes. Is that what it is? 13 minutes
uh,
for a hat trick.
he scored his 3rd goal in the 22nd minute.
First in the ninth. So yeah, it
Yeah,
should be
so
13,
ninth,
right?
11th, and 22nd. So yeah, he scored 3 goals in 13 minutes. Um, just crazy. And to add insult to injury, the one goal that was awarded to Chattanooga wasn't because they scored the goal. It was because Greenville scored the goal. Nate Schultz had an own goal there in the 11th minute. So yeah, Jimmy Weekly, or no, this was the last match for Ziggy. So Ziggy got one off of Greenville in that match, but not because of anything he did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did he really though?
Yeah.
He did, but did he?
And with the 4 goals that Liam McKinnon scored, that brought his total goals of the year up to 6 goals. And so I feel like when the Greenville players came off the field, Liam McKinnon, was very gracious to the PR. This is all fictionalized, just in my head. And that Lucas Coutinho was very, much the same way talking to the press. I'm glad we got the win. I'm glad we got the 3 points. This is a big step for the club. I can only imagine going into the locker room and Lucas Coutinho having 4 total goals this season, looking at Liam and saying, "What the fuck, man? It took you this one match to get 4 goals, and it took me this entire season to score 4 goals. What the hell, man?"
Hmm.
I bet that was a lot of fun in that locker room.
Oh, had to have been.
Yeah. And so I got to say this. When you are playing Greenville as the opponent, just don't attack along your right side because you're going straight at Tyler Pollock. And we've seen week after week after week excellent performances from this one guy.
Hmm.
He is like the defensive stalwart of his side of the field. Just don't attack along that side. If you try, you're going to fail.
Hmm.
So bring it all onto the other side. I know that Greenville has good players on the other side as well, but at least you have a better chance against them than you do against Tyler Pollock.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, this league comes a lot of time down to just matchups, and that's not a matchup most teams are equipped to win.
Yeah,
So it exactly like you said, like why would you keep attacking down the side with one of the best defenders in the league? Just doesn't make any sense.
yep. I just don't get it yet. It continues to happen every single time. I know you got to line up players on that side of the field. Doesn't mean you have to carry the ball down that side of the field. You can always try to work around them. You can always try to create havoc over there with additional personnel to try to create triangles to pass around them and everything. But nope, nope. Everyone just wants to go one on one at Tyler, and it's not going to work.
Yeah. I mean it yeah, it's crazy. And that just is one of those things too. Um, with Charlotte, you just or Chattanooga, excuse me. With Chattanooga, you just that's one of those things that you see them do and you just don't understand how they can continue to do this kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's just shooting themselves in the foot with being bad management or players just wanting to do their own thing. It's one of those two things, and it obviously it didn't work. And but we see that from them every single week, and eventually they should learn. You would think, um, but right now it's just really not looking good for Chat at all. Um, and I doubt bringing in Jimmy Weekly is going to change their fortunes too much. I mean, it did last year, so I mean he's proven that he can do it, but this is a new year with significantly less talent. And so it's
do
going to
you
be very difficult for them to replicate the kind of success that they had last season with the players that they currently have.
do you think Ziggy was already getting the boot, or do you think that he was just on very thin ice and this was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Well, it looked like was fired the day before the Greenville match, so um,
Oh,
they must have had Jimmy ready to go already. I mean, getting having him brought back and everything like that, and then um, naming him interim. I mean, you had to think there was something going on. Um,
yeah,
they already the writing was on the wall. They already knew what was going to happen, and they were just waiting for the opportune moment or whatever the reason was that they had. But I mean, even if Ziggy had held on one more match, I think at that point with their run of form that they've had, it's just the writing was there, and we all knew
yeah,
it was coming. It was just a matter of time.
yep. All right, so I threw those candidates at you for the 3 stars. I'll let you run through those.
Yeah. Obviously the first star is going to go to Liam McKinnon. 4 goals, fastest hat trick in league history. We don't even need to talk about the rest of his stuff. Except I do want to point out he only played 78 minutes. 4 goals in 78 minutes, not even a
So
full 90.
lazy.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
lazy.
you can't go for 5, 6.
Come on.
Just take over the Golden Boot race in one match.
Yeah.
Man, so he obviously gets the first one. Um, the second star is gonna go to Tyler Pollock. 90 minutes, 1 assist, 2 chances created, 14 passes into the final third. Not that Greenville needed help doing that. 4 interceptions, 10 recoveries, and was only dribbled past one time. So obviously we were just talking about him earlier, but Tyler Pollock obviously gets a nod as well. And because I like to be fair, the third, it's for me, it's going to go to, um, excuse me, Mo Espinoza. My boy Mo. I've been a big fan of Mo Espinoza since I've seen him play. 90 minutes, excuse me, 81% passing accuracy, 2 chances created, 5 passes into the final third, 6 recoveries, and he earned 5 fouls.
5 fouls.
And
That's
he earned them.
crazy.
And I mean,
Yeah.
let's just say it's not hard to get Greenville to foul people. They're a very foul heavy team, um, but they do it in moderation. Like they can ride that line of this could possibly lead to yellow territory, but it doesn't.
Let's see. I want to see where Greenville ranks in their fouls. Union Omaha is the top with 14.4 fouls per match.
Fouls
And
conceded.
Greenville, yeah, Greenville's not far behind with 13
Yeah,
fouls.
yeah. See, so
Man,
so
that's kind of interesting.
Rich, I have a question for you now.
Ooh, let's do this.
So, um, excuse me, looking at Greenville's current run of form, in their last five, they have 3 draws and 2 wins. Are we possibly seeing a return of the Greenville of yesteryear with the current run of form that they're on now?
Greenville is certainly a club that has that never say die attitude. Um, when I look at their last 5, they're undefeated. I want to see how far that goes into their season, how far they are undefeated. Oh no, that's not the one I want to go to. Because I have them, and well, another characteristic of Greenville is if they're able to keep you in a low scoring affair, that spells trouble for you and your club.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very typical um, attribute of Greenville soccer. Let me see. Yeah, so their last 5, they're undefeated, and that's as far as that streak goes. So yeah, if we are we seeing the return of the old Greenville? I don't know if we're seeing the return of the old Greenville, but we're seeing um, characteristics of that old team. So yes, I feel like we're headed in that direction. I don't know that I'm fully ready to commit to saying yes, this is a Greenville of yesteryear.
Sure.
Um, but in your last 5 and you're getting 9 points, you're gonna climb the table. I think they are so they're just on the outside looking in. They have 16 points and the playoff threshold is set at 19. And it looks like they have just as many matches as a lot of the teams above them. So
Obviously, the only exception being Northern Colorado
exactly.
is
Yeah.
sitting
So
on 11.
the biggest thing is that they're just waiting for one of the teams above them to falter, and that's exactly what Greenville is really good at doing. They have that kind of patience, and they've benefited from it in the past, and I fully intend on them doing it again, proving us right again this season. I mean, look at last season; they finished second place. All they
Mhm.
had to do is keep consistent with their results and wait for other teams to falter, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that completely. I mean, this is, I don't think, see how I want to phrase this. Greenville does get a lot of credit for what John Harkes is able to do out there. Um, but it's a very warranted praise for him. He's one of those coaches that always seems like no matter what run of form that they're sitting on, he never panics and never falters from the original idea for the identity of the club, and they just keep chugging along. And exactly like what you said, they just keep rolling out results. They might not be perfect results. They might not be, always be the cleanest team in the world, but they get results and they're a lot more consistent than the majority of teams in this league. And consistency is going to get you into the playoffs at the very least. So,
Yep.
um, I mean, yeah, you have to put a lot of a lot of credit on John Harkes for Greenville's continued run of consistency and success.
Yeah, like you were saying, they don't panic. I can't remember the last time I saw them panic. I mean, they seem to have that constant belief and faith, not only in their system but in their coaching staff and each other. Um, like you said, I mean, John Harkes is a coach that he knows what it takes to get results. The players on the field have faith in that system, and as long as they stay true to the system that he puts in place, they're gonna make it happen. And yeah, they're gonna continue being successful. So that's just sort of the Greenville way.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. All right. Next match was also on Wednesday night. I think we talked a little bit about this one. It was Omaha hosting One Knox. Ended up with a 1-1 draw. Um, so it was kind of hard to. So Noe Meza had that amazing free kick in that match, and it was kind of hard to imagine voting for that kick. Following all the news of Ryan McKinnon with Greenville in the earlier match, I mean, it just seemed to overwhelm all the news. And for goal of the week, I can't remember which three were up for goal of the week. Um, but hopefully, I can't remember if Noe's was up for
Um, I
goal of the
don't
week.
I don't remember. I did not vote in goal or save of the week this week.
Yeah. But I mean, uh, you have to think that, man, I really want to go check that, but I don't want to waste time. Ryan McKinnon, you have to think that one or two of his goals would be up there. Hopefully, Noe's would be up there because, oof, that was a really good free kick. Just barely
Mhm.
over the wall and then dipped right into that near post corner. Goalie couldn't. I mean, he was outstretched, still couldn't get it.
Yeah, and Tim coming in and clarifying Noe's was in the goal of the week
Good.
in
That's what
whatever.
I'm
So,
talking about. But yeah, this was another case of Omaha giving up an equalizer. So in the 90th plus 2 minutes, Ilya Illich converted the PK
mhm.
that was awarded to One Knox. So I did a little research. After this match alone, Union Omaha had played 12 matches. In 12 of those matches, 10 of them featured a goal from either one of the clubs. Of those 10 matches, 7 of them, Union Omaha scored first. And look at where they are in the standings. Look at their record. I mean, that tells you enough of some of the things that we're seeing as Union Omaha fans. Um, it's frustrating seeing them give up so many equalizers.
Mhm.
I think they've given up 8 equalizers this season,
Yeah.
which is far and away above the rest of the club or the rest of the league. Now, if you look at the second match that Union Omaha had with the 2-0 victory over Tormenta, once again, obviously because they won 2-0, they scored first. So that's 8 matches out of 11 that they've scored first. So I mean, they're just they're just keeping that streak rolling. I mean, they are a team that can score first, but they aren't necessarily good at finishing, and that's what we saw here.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just
and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, you also have to put a lot of credit on One Knox's defense.
Yes, yeah,
They played a very compact style defense that forced Union Omaha to try to pass the ball around them um, to create shots, and Omaha is not particularly skilled at passing you to death and passing into the slot to try to score goals. It just isn't in their repertoire. They even though they try to play that possession based um, style of play, they just don't have enough players able to make those runs in behind, or the players to get the passes in behind when players do make runs. So they do rely on some pretty stellar kicks from the likes of Doe Meza to really facilitate the vast majority of their scoring. So
Yeah.
um, that's an issue, but all credit to One Knox in that one for knowing exactly how they had to try to beat Union Omaha, and they forced them to play a game that they are not good at.
Yeah. Yep. And just like you were saying, Omaha, they do like to pass a lot. We see that. We see it in the stats. We see it on the field. The biggest problem is that passing happens along the back line, swinging the
Mm-hmm.
ball back and forth, maybe passing up to the mids and then dropping back to the back line again. There's not a whole lot of penetration into the final third. And that's where you're seeing a lot of lackluster offensive performances. Another thing that we have to watch out for is players getting into the final third and then fighting for their space. Too many players will find space, but then once the ball is coming at them or a defender starts to mark them, they aren't doing anything with their body to shield from the incoming ball to allow them to gain possession or to create an opportunity on goal from that cross coming in or whatever it is. Um, so yeah, it just further feeds into that mentality of the lackluster offense.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said as well, all credit to One Knox because they have a very disciplined defense, and
Yeah.
that was on full display Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that when we posted the teaser for last week's episode, One Knox, they posted that funny GIF in the comment of our tweet. But at the same time, if they listened to the whole segment, they would have heard all the compliments that we were, directing their way because we generally do have good things to say about One Knox, even though we may not feel that they're going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I said it last week, and I said it almost every week on the podcast when we talk about them. But I don't think it's for lack of skilled players. I think it's just a lack of experience in League One. League Two and League One are two completely different animals.
Yeah,
So um, it's really not down to the fact that their players can't play in this league, because obviously they can, but it's due to being League Two players that are coming up to League One. I mean, and they could come out and prove me wrong. They have an opportunity to. They're still sitting in fifth place right now, so and just went up to Richmond and tied the Kickers too. So
yeah,
they're definitely a team that could shock some people, but I think just the length of the season alone is going to be the thing that is their downfall this season.
yeah. And the guy on their team that I think I like to watch the most, I think this is a fairly easy choice, but Derek Waldeck, the guy is
Mhm.
just so dang good. It's crazy. The things that and I mean he's on defense. Like he's doing things that are just like I don't know. He's a lot of fun to watch, and when you see him in person, it makes you gain a whole new appreciation for the play that he's bringing to the field.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So we'll go ahead and jump into the stars. Um, for the first one, I'm actually not going to go with a goal scorer. Um, this one's actually going to be Derek Waldeck. 89 minutes, 78% passing accuracy, 9 passes into the final third, and 9 recoveries. So just doing the full gambit of work. I mean, playing defense and trying to facilitate an offensive attack. So he gets my first one. The second one, it really have to be hard pressed to not give it to Noe Meza for that free kick goal. Played all 90 minutes, had the goal and 3 recoveries, but I also want to combine these two and go ahead and throw in Illich in there for just, I mean, an astounding astounding penalty kick. I mean, sent Nuhu the wrong way and just buried it. And I'll say that the crowd over in like 119 was not making it easy for him over there. So
Yeah.
um, that's not an easy goal or an easy goal to try to take a penalty on for sure.
Yeah.
So for the third, um, it's between I got it's between Dolabella and Villalobos, but I think I'm gonna give it to Villalobos. Um, Played all 90 minutes, 80% passing accuracy, 4 passes into the final third, 5 interceptions, which is huge, especially playing in the midfield like he does. 9 recoveries, and he earned 3 fouls. Um, it just for me, I have to give the nod more to One Knox on this one because I think they just played a more complete match and just played a better match than Omaha did, so they deserve more of the credit.
And Jimmy Villalobos is another one of those players where good on One Knox for making that signing because
Mm-hmm,
man, he's another guy that keeps busy and he produces. So that was a crucial signing for them.
for sure.
All right, let's jump into Madison and Lexington, where uh man, this one was pretty hectic.
Yeah, another huge attendance number. I do want to shout that one out. Um,
Yeah.
4,572 for Madison. So, I mean, continuing to show up and show out for their team. So good on the Flamingo fans out there. But yeah, it was a thriller. I mean, it didn't look early on. It looked pretty much all Madison. I mean, Lexington had some chances, but Madison just looked more composed. You had your first goal in the 18th minute by Nazim Bartman, Jaden Onan with the assist. And then in the 35th minute, Jake Kroll all on his own with a beautiful shot. Just, I don't know if he meant to do it or not. It looked like it maybe went off, maybe was a little bit of a miss hit, but it curled into that top corner beautifully.
Yep.
So let's give him uh, let's give him credit where credit is due and say he did it on purpose. Um, but then in the 38th minute, Lexington pulls one back. Nico Brown assisted by Charlie Mashall. So Lexington did not go down without a fight for sure, and that goal really seemed like it sparked a whole lot of life in that Lexington team.
Yeah.
And it that also seems to be. I know we've talked about them being inconsistent inside of a match, but if they can do more things like this to kind of spark, you see a major difference in this team when that belief kind of sets in and they're like, oh, okay, I guess we can do this. Um, so they honestly they need to be doing more. Obviously, they need to be doing more scoring, but if they can just play with that same level, and of course, it's a broken record at this point, but they need to play a consistent full 90 minutes and they will be a good team. It's just they still somehow cannot put a full 90 minutes on the field. Um, and the 43rd minute, Christian Cheney, all on his own. I mean, it's Christian Cheney. What more can you really say? The dude is a stud. Um, and it looked like it was going to be maybe a match in the 60th minute where Lexington pulls another one back. Nico Brown, assisted by Balogun. Um, and again, it just too little, too late for Lexington. It just
Yeah.
because when Madison can sit there and bunker down, we've seen this season that their defense can get super tight when it needs to. Um, and it just unfortunately for Lexington, Madison just got out to that 3 goal lead, and it's not much you can do. 3 goals is really hard to get over.
Yeah, I feel like with the amount of momentum that Lexington builds as the match proceeds, if matches were 100 minutes instead of 90 minutes, Lexington would have a completely different record than what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you have players like Tate Robertson, Khalid Balagoon, Those guys, jumping in, and when you have support like Charlie Mitchell and Nico Brown, I mean, they have the offensive power to make things happen. They have plenty of speed too. That's the biggest thing. One of the things that you're seeing from Lexington is their ability to not only deliver a lot of long passes, but they're able to connect on them as well. So they do a really good job of stretching defenses, and which is putting a lot more 1v1 strain on back lines and defenders. But that's a strength for Lexington because their offensive players can go at defenders 1v1 and they can win those battles.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, like I said, if they could go to 100 minutes instead of 90 minutes, Lexington would be in a better um, would be in a better place in the standings with their statistics and everything. I just They just need to it's when you go to like a movie or you go to like a stand-up comedian and um if the movie was or the stand-up act was like an hour, or say it was an hour and a half,
Hmm.
but if it were an hour, think of how amazing it would be. And when you left the theater, you'd be thinking, "Holy crap! Like I can't stop talking about how amazing this was." But if you add on that extra half hour, like you're just like, "Oh, come on, man! Like I feel empty here." It's the reverse for Lexington. Like if there were an extra 10 minutes,
Artes Diouf.
they'd be stellar.
Yeah, I agree. And we also have Michael coming in the chat. Michael Fuse saying Diouf was robbed again by a bad offsides call.
I remember seeing that.
Fair,
Yeah,
yes.
I
Um,
agree.
there were a few bad offsides calls this weekend. Um, but again, I'm not gonna blame the referees for it. I mean, it's difficult, and at this point, we really just got to learn to live with it. But it is a little bit weird that he, in particular, somehow gets another bad offside call. I mean that
Yeah,
that makes like what 3 or 4 already in the past like
yeah.
3 matches. Just it's insane. Um, so yeah, I guess we can move on to the star winners for this one.
Cool.
Um, for the first one, it's gonna go to Jake Kroll. Um, 90 minutes, 1 goal, 85% passing, 7 passes into the final third, 5 clearances, and 5 recoveries. So just doing the most. And like I said, I'm just going to give him credit, thinking that he intentionally shot the ball that way. So he gets the first one. The second one, we're going to go with Charlie Mitchell. 74 minutes, 1 assist, 88% passing accuracy, 7 passes into the final third, 83% long ball accuracy, which is huge. Um, and 5 recoveries. And that long ball accuracy is huge because of what you said, Rich, but just how much speed Lexington has. They can get out and, I mean, I guess pun intended, they can get on their horses and ride pretty damn fast. So um, that's only gonna help them when you can play the long ball that well.
Yep.
And the third one, I've got to go with Nazim Bartman. Only 63 minutes, but had a goal, 83% passing accuracy, 5 passes into the final third, and 75% on his long ball accuracy.
I think he was the one who had the goal tonight in Madison's match too. So second straight week
Yeah.
for goals for him.
Mm-hmm. Good on him.
Yeah, I like those choices.
That was a tough one, though. I mean,
Yeah,
both of those teams had a plethora of options that you could have chosen, and I don't think any of them could have been wrong.
yep. I feel like the next one's going to be tough to pick among those candidates too. So let's jump right into that one.
Yeah.
We got Richmond hosting One Knox. This one I was already excited about before it even began, and it yeah, it lived up to the hype. It was a good one.
Yeah, for sure. The attendance well attended. Again, another match that was well attended in Richmond. 3,863. A little bit below what they're usually getting, but still really good turnout by Richmond out there. And Terzaghi got it started in the 7th minute, assisted by Simon Fitch. Just again, another one of those guys. I do want to point out that it was that in this match he got his 50th USL one goal,
And it was that 7th minute one.
the 7th minute one.
Yeah.
So 50 goals for him, obviously 3-time Golden Boot winner. Guy scores a lot of goals. So
You
uh,
know those North Korean military leaders, how that's like their whole chest is like full of medals. Like
yeah,
if they had a medal for USL League One players, that would be Terzaghi. Like if he were to wear like a Letterman's jacket, it would just be like full of League One medals
oh yeah, all a
adorning
bunch
the
of
side of it.
accolades.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean his shelves are in need of some reinforcement with how much hardware this dude gets from this league. So,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, in the 69th minute, nice one Knox gets one back. It was from a Dakota Barnathan own goal. So I mean that was kind of a thing that's been going on recently. There's been quite a few own goals
Yeah.
in the league this
There were.
past week.
Yeah.
So keep your ears open. You'll hear at least one more after this one.
Yep.
Um, but I mean that pulls one Knox within, tied up here. And eventually to take the lead 2 minutes later in the 71st, um, Illich again, getting another goal here, assisted by Derek Waldeck. So a couple big names coming through for one Knox. Um, but then again, I mean, the fireworks did not stop. And from the 68th minute to the 80th minute, especially, um, Terzaghi converts on a PK to tie the match and ends up being 2-2, one Knox in Richmond.
Yep. And we give Terzaghi, well, at least, okay, Brian doesn't. I do. I give him a lot of shit on this show. Not afraid to admit it. I stand by what I say, but I will also say that for him to get his 50th and 51st in this match, congratulations, Emiliano Terzaghi. You deserve all the praise and the hype and all that kind of stuff that you've been getting on social media, from League One, from the fans, from the community at large. So congratulations on that milestone. That's awesome.
Hmm. I agree. Yeah. But I mean, this is a strange match. These are two teams. If you look at the table, they're right next to each other. They're both sitting on right now. They're sitting on 21 points. So they're both sitting on 20 points at the time, right next to each other in the table, with identical records. And one Knox has the slight advantage for a goal differential, but it's 2 goals for them to Richmond's 1 goal differential. These are essentially the same team playing each
Yeah.
other, which is why I think it was so fascinating to watch the match because they also play in a similar style. Their defense can be stifling at times, but they also are able to really open it up and be able to poach goals, um, for both sides when they really want to. So it's really weird to see. It's like the Spider-Man meme when they're both looking at each other and pointing at each other. That was this match in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So the only fitting way for it to end was a draw.
Yep. And when I provided the candidates for you to choose from, I genuinely thought about putting Jordan Skelton in there, but I feel like the the way that he gave one Knox that PK late in the match, I couldn't give him
Sure.
the nod in that list. Another one Knox penalty, or no, it was oh my gosh, it was, what am I thinking? It was One Knox had the penalty earlier in the week. I'm thinking of, yeah, it was Jordan Skelton for One Knox who jumped on Terzagi's back,
Mm-hmm.
and that's he earned the PK there. So yeah, it was Jordan Skelton. That
Yeah.
I was thinking something else. Yeah,
Yep. No.
I genuinely thought about putting Jordan Skelton in here, but I decided against it at the last second.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that I would have picked him for that particular one, but um, for the first one, yeah, it's not super easy. Um,
Yeah,
I feel like you got to go with Terzaghi, right? 90
you
minutes,
gotta.
2 goals, 3 passes into the final third, 4 recoveries, and he earned 2 fouls, and I mean one of which obviously penalty. So yeah, I think being involved in 2 goals, that's going to get you a good one. This is where it kind of gets hairy
Yep.
for sure. Um, I was looking at him when we were talking too, and I still don't have. Let's go with Jalen Chrysler. 90 minutes, 93% passing accuracy, 5 passes into the final third. Was a perfect 7 for 7 on accurate long balls and 7 recoveries. And that accurate long balls is one of those stats too. I know I've talked about it before, but the league does not pass the ball long or cross the ball very accurately on as a whole at all.
Yeah.
It's they're like in the 30s and maybe 40s at times
Yeah.
percentage wise for that. So to hit 100% is insane. So hopefully we're being graded on a curve, and now the entire class will go up because he hit 100%. Um, and for the last one, she's I have to go with Derek Waldeck. 88 minutes, 1 assist, 83% passing accuracy, created 6 chances himself, had 4 recoveries, and he earned 3 fouls. That's doing some work.
So you know how Emiliano Terzaghi, I mean, he has what, 6 total goals on the year. I think he's tied for third in the Golden Boot now. Um,
Yes.
I feel like now that he started scoring, we're getting that part of the season where it's like, oh, yep,
Hmm.
Terzaghi with the goal sheet.
Yeah.
Um, every single season with Richmond, it makes me think of that scene at the end of Incredibles where the family is sitting in the stands watching Dash in the track meet, and he starts sprinting like big time, and
Yes.
they keep telling like, hold back, hold back, hold back, like got to make it a race. And so he like holds back a little bit, but then he barely wins at the very end. I feel like that's Richmond in a nutshell. Like they're looking at Terzaghi like, oh, hold on, we know you can score 10 tonight. Just dial it back, only do 2, and you can win the Golden Boot at the end of the season. We'll let you run wild at the end.
Yeah, you get all the personal accolades at the end of the season and not
Yeah,
halfway through it. Sure.
yeah,
Got to make it interesting. Give the other kids a chance. That's a perfect analogy. I love it.
yeah.
Coincidentally, one of my favorite movies that I've seen in quite a long time. The kids don't like it as much, which kind of hurts, but
Really?
they're
Oh my
not
gosh.
huge fans of it, but they go through phases. They'll watch stuff like until it's not funny anymore, and then
Yeah.
they won't want to watch it ever again. So,
It was, man, I was a really big fan of that one too, and the soundtrack too was awesome.
mhm.
I got to play some of the soundtrack, and man, I'm glad I was not a trumpet player because they go super high.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah,
All right, so we can move on to, I mean, probably the most entertaining match
yeah.
of the entire slate here. Chattanooga drawing with Charlotte 2-2. Um, obviously, obviously a big turnout, 2,670 fans. That's Chattanooga for you. They show out. Um, so in the 16th minute, Charlotte scores first, and Joel Johnson, assisted by Ibarra, obviously. Um, Again, Charlotte doing Charlotte things, getting on the scoreboard early and often, um, just like they did in the 39th minute. Sorry. Um,
with Ryan JJ.
Ryan JJ. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Thank you. And assisted by Flanagan.
Yep.
So Charlotte jumping out to and pretty early lead, and that is pretty much Charlotte's MO. They do like to score early and they do like to score often. So um, it did not seem like Chattanooga had a whole lot of life going into halftime and all the way up until the 60th minute. Chattanooga ends up pulling one back. Pedro Hernandez scores, assisted by Riley Kraft. And then, of course, in typical Chattanooga fashion, they shoot themselves in the foot in the 77th minute. And Omar Gomez receives a red card. Um, so now they're playing down a man, down a goal to one of the best teams in the league. And it looks like it's over. But in the 90th minute plus 7, somehow in a flurry of just insane plays, being unable to clear the ball for Charlotte, Chattanooga gets their second goal in and ties the match. Siobhan Marsh, all on his own, um, puts it in, and because Charlotte failed to be able to clear a ball and finish out a match while up a man, which is not something you would think would happen with this Charlotte team this year.
Yeah. At the man, that's huge bragging rights for Chattanooga to not only tie Charlotte but do so while a man down.
Mhm.
That's like salt on the wound, man. You had 3 points in the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that match ended up that was that can't remember exactly how many minutes of stoppage time. Was that after the original end of stoppage time, or I think they wasn't it pretty high actually?
I don't remember.
I feel like there was like 10 minutes of stoppage time in that match. I have to go back and look at it. I should have done that earlier, but anyway, 90th plus 7, but yeah, I mean, and this was the first match with Jimmy Weekly as the head coach, or interim head coach, however you want to call it. Right now, he's coaching the team. And when he took over the reins last season, his first result was a draw as well. So if that's any indication of what can be done with um, Jimmy Weekly at the helm with Chattanooga, I might have been wrong, and Chattanooga might be able to turn it around. Um,
We'll
and
see.
Tim coming in, ranting Blue Penguin Media again. Tim saying the end of match was 90 plus 11.
11. That's crazy. That's like World Cup style right there.
Yeah,
When we were seeing like 12, 15 minutes, all that stuff.
you know what? If that's really what it's supposed to be, then I'm all for it. Let's play it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's free soccer. It's like when baseball goes into extra innings and it's free baseball.
Yeah.
Love me some free soccer.
Doesn't bother me a bit. I get to sit there and watch it.
Yeah, right. Oh, so for my 3 stars on this one, it's so hard with all of these matches this week. There was no really runaway winners with too many of these matches. I think for my first one, I'm going to give it to the guy who drew the match for Chattanooga and Siobhan Marsh. He only played 17 minutes, had 1 goal and 3 recoveries in those 17 minutes, but was dispossessed 1 time. But I think that goal in stoppage time makes up for that being
Oh, yeah.
dispossessed.
Super sub.
Yeah, I'll take it. That's Chattanooga's MO. I mean, you remember them last season with Mensigan,
Yeah.
super sub. They know how to bring in guys. Jimmy Weekly just knows what guy needs to be on the field at what time, I guess. So Now,
Yep.
if he could just figure out what guy needs to be on the field at the beginning of the match,
Yep.
watch out, it's over. Chattanooga's got it wrapped. Um, so for the second one, we're gonna go with Ryan JJ. 77 minutes, 1 goal, 93% passing accuracy, 3 passes into the final for the third, a perfect 4 of 4 on accurate long balls with 5 recoveries as well. So, um, again, those accurate long balls in a league where accurate long balls don't happen that often, that'll get you some. And for my final candidate here, it's between Kraft and Johnson, but I think I'm leaning more towards Kraft. And again, it's because I think this is a more impressive result for Chattanooga than it is anything for Charlotte. But Riley Kraft, 90 minutes, 1 assist, 82% passing, 2 chances created, 7 passes into the final third, and 4 out of 5 accurate long balls. So, again, one of those things that if you can pass the ball accurately over long distances in this league, you're going to put your team up in an advantage, especially when a lot of these strikers have the ability to run under balls because they are just quicker than the defenders in this league. So, um, that being said, it is a I don't want to say troubling result for Charlotte, but Charlotte's also trending in the wrong direction here. In their last 2 matches, they've lost to one Knox and then drew Chattanooga, and their next up this week is a big one. They've got NCFC, which is sitting at second in the table, so might be time for them to be double checking what they got to get done and trying to figure out what they were doing at the beginning of the season and kind of get back to that.
So yeah, you said in the last 5, Charlotte has won 10 points, but in the last 3, Charlotte's only won 4 points.
Correct.
So they're having a drop off right now, and I don't know what's going on, but this is not the time to start faulting.
No, no, especially when you got teams like Northern Colorado right under you,
Yeah.
Knoxville right under you, Richmond right under you. I mean, it. These are not teams you want to be able, not teams you want to be dropping any points around because they all seem like they know how to get it done.
And was this one of those clubs at the beginning of the season where you were talking about they were going to be all offense and no defense?
Yeah, Charlotte and NCFC both. I kind of felt that way. I mean, I won't say that I'm wrong, but I'm definitely
No.
not right. Um,
No, I'm definitely not trying to guide you toward that direction. But I'm just saying, if this, if their recent performances are going to continue, I mean, you could very well be right.
yeah, I mean they're sitting on a 6 goal differential right now. I mean third in the table, so they're still not sitting too bad. Um,
Yeah,
so the sky is not falling, but just one of those things. I mean, with teams that high in the table, honestly, you have to find something to nitpick with them. So, um,
true. Yeah.
one giveaway result that they probably should have won. Is it going to sink the ship? No, but is it maybe a little bit troubling and cause for a little bit of concern? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so then the next match on Saturday night was Union Omaha hosting Tormenta. Union Omaha took the victory 2-0. First one, what, 8 matches or something like that?
Yes, yeah, 8 matches. And is that I believe that's their first win since April.
Yeah, since the Northern Colorado match.
hmm So Union Omaha finally getting back on in their winning ways, I guess. now they have equal number of kits and wins. So walk in 90s joke is no longer valid at us.
Man, they were going hard on Union Omaha that day.
I mean, deservedly so though.
Yeah,
For how much shit we talk about Madison and more kits than wins last season, I feel like it's deserved.
yeah. I'm trying to find something here.
Yeah, sure. So the attendance for this one was 3,082, and I know me, you, and Chip were talking in the group message, asking if this was the first time this season Omaha's eclipsed that 3,000 number, and I don't know if we landed on if that was 100% accurate or not, but it feels like it is. I think they've been on the cusp of that 3,000 number, but still have yet to crack it until this one. But I will say that's a pretty high attendance number, especially with the College World Series being in town and not that far away. I'm sure a lot of Omaha sports fans, that's a big deal around here. If anybody listening hasn't been to the College World Series out here, it's huge. Like there's setup going up for like a month in advance of it for all the tents and stuff right outside the stadium and everything. So, um, and it brings in a ton of revenue for the city. So it's a big
Jello
deal.
shots alone.
Yeah, and if anybody hasn't seen that, yeah. And Tim, right on cue, 68,000 Jello shots. Don't lie.
For LSU alone, wasn't it?
Yeah, for LSU alone. Yeah, yeah. I think that, and I mean they donate. I don't remember if they said all of it or the majority of it to charity. So it it all goes for a good cause. But yeah, it's insane the amount of CWS stuff that goes on. But
Yeah.
um, so yeah, 3,000's not too bad.
For that kind of an evening, yeah, I'll take 3,000. I
Mhm.
was so that was also Pride Night. I think that was an extra draw for some people in the community too. So I'm very happy with the 3,000 attendance that night. There was plenty of other stuff going on that night that could have taken people away.
Mhm.
So I'll take 3,000.
Yeah, and I mean the atmosphere was really good,
It was, yeah,
as well, um, and just seeing all of the different pride organizations out there, um, being able to talk to a few people. The Union Omaha debuted their pride kit. I actually have mine sitting behind me right here.
I got my scarf behind me too.
I didn't pick up a scarf this year. I haven't
Yeah,
been wearing scarves to matches just because it's been so damn hot every single
yeah,
time.
it's a summer
Um,
scarf.
well, that's good at least.
I
Yes,
got I got one right there. I got another one right there, and then I got this year's right there.
nice. And Tim also pointing out if anybody didn't see what Parliament did on the berm, the smoke tifu, um, they did a rainbow with smoke bombs before the match started, and that was really cool to be able to see. So just another great night. Pride Night always seems to bring out some of the best atmosphere and the best stuff in not just Omaha, but in this instance particularly, Omaha brought their A game for this one.
Yeah. When I talked to Zach beforehand, he told me that they were going to be lighting off or setting off 20 smoke bombs. And I thought to myself, holy shit, man, we're not going to be able to have a supporter section back behind the berm or back on the berm because all you guys are going to get kicked out. And then when I saw them set off the smoke bombs, I thought, oh, okay. Yeah. If there's no way they're getting kicked out now.
Yeah, no,
Um,
not for that one.
yeah. If they kick them out for that, ooh, that's going to start all kinds of a shit storm.
Right.
That was, I'm okay with that smoke bomb. That was
Mm.
cool. And then
Yeah.
I think it was Peter who set off two smoke bombs, the general manager, at the president's suite during the
Yeah.
match too.
Yeah, they've been doing smoke in the owner suite the past few matches at Warner.
Yeah,
So that's cool to see as well.
it was.
Um But in the 42nd minute, JP Skiers um, headed a ball in off a corner kick, just a line drive corner kick by Connor Doyle, um, and JP doing JP things, getting his head on it and sliding it home. Um, and then didn't look a whole lot like there was going to be a whole lot else going on. But in the 45th plus 6 minute, Deshaun Nebard, I mean, tries to clear a ball. I knew exactly what he was trying to do. Just misplays it, and it just loops right over into the net,
Yeah.
and just own goals. And I feel like that really kind of killed any momentum that Tormenta may have had. Although I didn't really feel like Tormenta hasn't been themselves a whole lot this season,
Yeah.
and in this match too, it never felt like they were truly threatening Union Omaha.
Yeah. I truly feel, and I know that I know that Union Omaha benefited off the own goal from Deshaun Nemhard. I genuinely feel bad for him in that instance because the low driven ball that was served into the box and the defender, the tormented, I can't remember which tormented defender it was that was sliding on the ground to try to clear the ball.
But yeah, it
But
was
for
him
it
and a
to
Union Omaha player were both going for it at the same time. So that's
exactly. So if that tormented player didn't go to ground to try to clear that ball, I think it was Noe Meza was right there. He was going to tap it in
yeah,
easily. He was going to tap it in. So for that tormented player to try to clear it, and then for it to go off to Sean Nemhard's leg and into the net, there was nothing Deshaun Nemhard could do. And
no.
I feel bad for him because obviously here we are saying his name associated with the own goal, and there was just nothing he could do about it. And yeah, I feel for the guy. Any defender out there has been in that position, and you feel helpless, and it's just like I know my name's going on the stat sheet for all the wrong reasons, but there
Yeah.
it is.
Hmm. Yeah, and this was a big result for Union Omaha. You had said before this match that if they didn't win this, they could essentially kiss their playoff hopes goodbye.
Yeah.
So, is this going to be a continuing trend every week?
Right now, I'm screaming believe. Um, they're hanging by a very thin thread, but yeah, right now I'm screaming believe. I don't know why League One is reporting that Joe Burrito uh, has the assist on that goal. It was clearly Connor Doyle who took the corner kick.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. When I was going through the stats and everything, and I saw that Joe Burrito was awarded the assist, I'm not coming down on Joe Burrito at all, but I'm wondering like how the hell can you give it to Joe? Like it was clearly Connor.
Hmm.
Connor's very tall. He has dirty blonde, perfectly combed hair. It's
Well,
hard
and I
to
mean,
mistake him and Joe Burrito there in the corner.
and they don't even take the same kind of free kicks or corner kicks. Joe always
Yeah,
has more of an outswinging, high playing ball, and
yeah,
Connor specializes in those line drive balls. And it
yeah,
was definitely a line drive that went right to Skiers. I mean, it seems like those two had know exactly where they're going to be, and I think that's kind of the nice thing about having two guys that have been on the team as long as both of those guys have. He knows if I put the ball here, Skiers is jumping up and heading it in.
exactly. And after the match, when I interviewed JP, he even mentioned in one of his quotes, before that corner kick, I told Connor to drive it to the far post, and he put it right where he needed it to, and JP was there to finish it. I mean, yeah, that's the chemistry that you were just talking about from
Hmm.
being teammates for so many years.
Yep, definitely. So we can jump into our 3 stars. Um, First one, I got to give it to JP Skiers, the only goal on the opposing team in this one. 90 minutes, 1 goal, 82% passing accuracy, 5 passes into the final third, and 5 recoveries. And shout out to JP again for wearing the armband in this one, and um, getting his first goal with the armband on. So my second one, this is going to sound like I'm kind of pandering to the Union Omaha thing, but
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
it's really not. I mean, Toby Otieno played 69 minutes, 86 passing accuracy, one chance created, 7 passes into the final third. On a team that didn't score, I mean, he was trying to facilitate that. He was dispossessed twice, but had 4 recoveries and earned 3 fouls in total. So, um, I mean,
This and to fully support your stance there, even on a night where Toby Otieno doesn't have his best night, he has one of these nights.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how good this guy is as a central midfielder. He's good.
Yeah. And Allison in the live chat said there was a rumor that Dalton Knutson didn't play because he overslept. If that's the case, can an honorary star be given to Dalton's alarm clock? If that is the case, then absolutely yes. Dalton's alarm clock gets the honorary 4th star, the rare 4th star. um, and the third one, man, this is a really tough one. I think I'm gonna go with Jake Dangler actually for this third one. Played all 90 minutes, 88% passing accuracy, had 12 passes, into the final third, and massive 8 recoveries. So without some of those recovery runs, this could have been a lot worse. It feels like
Yeah,
so. I'm gonna give Dangler that last star for making the hustle play. And you guys heard the rant a few weeks back. You know I love hustle plays. So
you do. Yeah, I like those three. Those are good decisions. And Dangler, man, yeah, he was one of the best last season. He's
mhm.
certainly on that list again this season.
Yeah. So Rich, I want to ask you about Tormenta. Um,
Ooh, okay.
what do you think is happening down in Tormenta that they are just not playing as cohesively as they did last season? And do you think they are going to be able to make a turnaround in because we're only a couple games away from halfway done with the season for the majority of teams. They don't have a whole lot of time to turn it around. Do you think it's a possibility for Tormenta to turn it around and go on a good run this year?
So to answer your first question, what is going on with Tormenta? I think it's very clear what's happening in that locker room, and um, it's that Bolt has too much of a say there in the locker room in the tactics.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it's clearly Bolt.
yeah, it's all Bolt's fault.
Yeah. No, as far as what's going on, I think they're still recovering from a lot of the injuries that they were having, a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
They're still trying to find the right players in the right positions. Um, and then I think it's just a matter of them needing to switch up their formation. You've seen other teams start with a new formation from week one, and you've seen other teams adjust to a new formation as the season has worn on. You haven't seen that as much with Tormenta. And so I think if they were to experiment a little bit, um, they would see some big benefits from that. As far as what formation I would maybe go with, um, I would say maybe like a. I think they already play with like a 4-3-3, don't they?
Uh, yeah, I mean, their formations are really weird because I feel like they have such a fluid, kind of
Yeah.
free flowing style that yeah, they start maybe in a 4-3-3, but I think it's more likely that they'll play a lot more with like a 2 or even 3 back system.
Exactly. So just like everybody else in League One, as soon as they go on offense, they release the wing backs
Mhm.
to help up on offense.
Yeah.
So I think if they switched, this is gonna sound a little weird, bit unorthodox. If they were to go to maybe like a 3-2-3-2, so basically like a 3-5-2, but with like two center defend mid center. Oh my gosh, central defensive midfielders, um, to sort of keep everything narrow, but at the same time allow forward progress up the flanks. I think that would give them more opportunities. They have such a strong presence there in the middle that they can dictate where they want to go and what they want to do as they're getting into the final third, as well as when they're able to establish possession there in the final third. Um, but then obviously you have, strong attackers up top, um, who have proven that they can score week in, week out. They just have to be given those opportunities to do so. Um, I don't know. I think they just need to mess with the formation a little bit. I think they have the right players. I think they can make a climb if they do a little bit of experimentation. But sometimes, um, typically, let's. So if you were to look at baseball, when the Yankees were, I think this was like the early 2000s, like when the Yankees would play day in, day out, you knew exactly who was going to fill their lineup sheet. Um, and because it was proven success every single time, those players were crazy good. They were getting results. But when you have that roster of players that Tormenta does, and you're getting stagnant results, sometimes you just need to mix it up, whether it's throwing somebody new in there that we haven't seen quite as much, messing with the formations, trying a new tactic. Like you try something new, instead of just doing the same formation, the same tactics, the same personnel. You just got to throw a wrench in the system.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's fair. That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I like it. Rich, put your name in the hat for the
there we go.
next head coach.
Ian Cameron, I'm available.
There you go. Would that be an analyst?
Sure, yeah. If they want me as a video analyst, yeah, I'll take it.
There you go. I'd support it. I'd give you a good recommendation.
Yeah. I could also talk to Michael, the new video analyst at UN in Omaha. I'm sure he would give me a recommendation too.
There you go. See, that's two.
There we
Plus,
go.
you got an entire catalog of shows for them to look back on. Although you might want to cut up
Oh,
some of the parts where we talk a little bit of shit. Just
yeah.
maybe leave those out.
So sure, I dog on Emiliano Terzaghi, the guy who leads the league in all-time goals and all that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
should probably clip those out.
that's
Those
fair.
clips don't exist.
Yeah, I don't remember you ever saying
Never.
that. So yeah, I think this is our last match, of course. Um, Northern Colorado hosting Central Valley, the Fire and Ice Cup. Um, in the 38th minute, Northern Colorado's Billy King assisted. Is that Lucky Opara?
Oh, yep. Lucky Opara. Yep.
Opara. So bad. I can hear the names, but then I second guess myself every single time I like go to read
It's
it.
like
It's a
Ike
disconnect in my
Opara there
brain.
at Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah.
Ike Opara. Yeah, Lucky Opara.
So Billy King, again, this is another week where he's just strengthening his case for MVP, and I think it's because I said something about it. So now he's like, oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to win MVP this season. So
I was gonna bring it up, but
yeah,
yep, beat me to it.
yeah. No, I have to bring it up because man, I was really looking forward to him running this league. I had so much faith in him, but still time, still a little bit over half a season to go. So But yeah, Northern Colorado gets the win here. I will fully admit I did not stay up to watch this one. I had other stuff going on around that time, so um, I mean, also Northern Colorado and Central Valley, two very different ends of the table in this
It was
matchup. So I was a
polar
little
opposites,
shocked
man.
by yeah, a little shocked by the only one goal for Northern Colorado, but
Yeah,
then again, we've seen Central Valley at times this season be a little bit stingy and be
yeah.
able to punch well above their weight class.
It's that midfield, man. I'm telling you, that midfield.
Hmm.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from them.
Yeah. So we'll jump into the stars. Billy King gets the first one, the only goal, obviously. 78 minutes with the goal, 96% passing accuracy, 4 chances created, 3 passes into the final third, 7 recoveries, and he earned a whopping 4 fouls.
Hmm.
My second one is going to go to Lucky Opara, 90 minutes, 1 assist, 83% passing accuracy, 1 chance created, 6 passes into the final third. And the third one for me is going to be Ozzy Ramos for Central Valley. 90 minutes, 86% passing, 2 chances created, 10 passes into the final third, and 3 blocks. So there you go, Rich. That midfield shining right here for you.
There it is, right there.
So I've got actually got a question for you for both of these.
Yes.
And I have not thrown any of these in the outline. So you're getting Rich's unfiltered responses when I ask him questions. Um, I'm actually going to go with what I think is a little bit more difficult first, and then I'll throw you the easy one. So, Central Valley, we talked about them last week. They had the potential to go on the run, but we looked ahead at their schedule, and this was one of the matches that right away, as soon as you saw Northern Colorado on the schedule, you said, "No, that winless streak is extending another week," and it was very quick. Does the way Central Valley played this match against a very good Northern Colorado team change your opinion on that at all?
About whether they'll go on the run or when it'll happen.
And when it'll happen, yeah.
It's coming soon.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm one of those doomsday preppers where it's like, it's coming soon. It's coming. It's right around the corner. I can hear it. I can smell it. It's on the way.
Yep.
No, but I'm telling you, I feel like I'm the crazy person on the corner with the sign. Central Valley is not going to be the wooden spoon winner this season, and they are going to make a climb. It is going to happen soon. We all need to prepare for it. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs,
Mhm.
but like I said, they're not going to win the wooden spoon. The way that I'm seeing them play, I have faith in the system that they have, the players that they have, and you start to see that they are believing the system that they have in place as well. Um, and I think that's why you haven't seen Vasquez given the boot yet. Um, you know, we've seen other coaches have departures earlier, but I think that Vasquez, I don't mind saying it. I think Vasquez will last the entire season. Because of the fact that Central Valley is about to go on a run. Um, Now their only match this week is against Union Omaha,
Mhm.
so naturally I want to say that that streak is, or that run is going to be delayed for another week, but I don't know. Um, Central Valley has been looking good against quality competition. They're keeping it within one goal.
Mhm.
I think that's 4 weeks in a row that they've held competition from clubs above the playoff threshold to a one goal difference. I just, if they are able to limit, if they're able to keep it within one goal, um, reduce the amount of goals that the opposition has had. Because in the past 5 weeks, Central Valley has given up 9 goals in 5 matches. They gave up 4 to Northern Colorado, and they gave up 2 to Richmond, but then they gave up 1 to Madison, Greenville, and then Northern Colorado again. They have the ability to keep these clubs down to 1 goal. If they're able to stay disciplined and keep them at 1 goal, they can start earning draws
Mhm.
and maybe sneak in a win here or there, which would get them above that, wooden spoon position.
Mhm.
I think Central Valley can do it. As far as win, I hope it doesn't start this week because I don't want to see them get a result against Union Omaha.
Right.
Um, so let me take a look while we have that storyline going. Let me see who they play.
Tim let us know they play Madison after they play Union
Oh,
Omaha.
God, that sucks for them.
And then Tim also coming in the next 5 after Madison are Lexington, Charlotte, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Tormenta.
Oh,
And Tim believes that your run starts with those 5 matches after Madison. You can get a pretty decent results. I'm assuming he's thinking that they'll at least be able to get. I mean, you should be able to get 3 of those teams. You have a pretty decent shot at playing. But I mean, if they play up to the level that they, I mean, have been playing at, exactly like you said, keeping them to 1 goal and
yeah.
maybe finding a way to get 2, I could see them having a shot with some of those teams.
And exactly what you said, right then and there. That was the exact score line when they beat Ford Madison earlier this month.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Tim's saying he's seeing 10 points in those last 5 after Madison.
wow.
That's some high praise
Wow.
there. That's
Yeah. That's Northern Colorado level results right there.
mm-hmm,
Man. All right. Well, that'll be fun to watch.
mm-hmm.
I'm glad it'll come after they've played Union Omaha.
The thing is, too, though, with Union Omaha, they're one of those teams that seems like they, I don't want to say they play down to an opponent's level, but they don't seem to play their most cohesive matches against teams perceived lesser than them.
Yeah. And I think the streak is still alive that Central Valley has never defeated Union Omaha in Fresno.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing that goes in Union Omaha's favor. But at the same time, that Central Valley midfield, man. I know
Mm-hmm.
I keep harping on it, but that's a good midfield.
Yeah. And so, my question for you for Northern Colorado, I mean, it's not really fair because you asked me the same question, but right now, Northern Colorado's sitting on 7 goals allowed. They play Charlotte next. Do you think their streak of being under double digit goals allowed survives for another 2 weeks?
Yes. I think they can keep Charlotte at. I'll give them 1 goal,
And then they play Chattanooga after that.
Chattanooga, and I'll say they get a clean sheet against Chattanooga. Oh, they're going to the Den though,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll give Chattanooga a goal there.
So that's 9.
That's 9, and they play 1 Knox. I think they can hold 1 Knox to a clean sheet. I know they're playing in Knoxville,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they can hold Knoxville to a clean sheet, and then they host Union Omaha, and I think that's when they give up their 10th goal
Still, single digits all the way till July 15th.
till July 15th.
That's no small feat.
Yeah, that's crazy because that's what week 20? No, week, yeah, 19 at that point, 16, yeah, 19.
19.
Man, that's crazy. That's like 2/3 through the season.
Yeah, yeah,
That's crazy.
just about.
Um, and oh, I have something to talk to you about, but I'll do that after the show.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
so yeah,
geez.
that what's up?
Sorry. Um, just because we're in kind of around the around the league time. It's the 84th minute of the United States match. They're up 6-0.
6-0. Yep.
Ooh, and Ferreira's got a hat trick. All right, sounds good. Perfect. Sorry, I had to check that one. I saw Gold Cup in our next segment here, and I was like, oh shit, I haven't checked that.
I just finished my hat trick too. I'm
Working on a new record, number 4.
working on a new record. I'm working on the lime McKinnon right here.
Yep, there you go. That's what we'll call having 4 beers from now on. Slam McKinnon.
So as far as league news, I think the biggest thing that we have here is that there are 3 players currently in the Gold Cup. One of them is playing tonight against the U.S. men's national team, and that's North Carolina's Raheem Summersall. He actually started tonight for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yeah, and as you just heard, it is not going terrifically.
Not going so well.
That's not really fair, though. I mean, they were not projected to do very well in the Gold Cup anyway.
Exactly. But I mean, it's still an incredibly valuable
Oh,
experience for him. And
and what an
yeah,
honor too to go and play for the international team. I mean,
yeah,
that's something you dream about as a kid and growing up.
yep,
So who cares if you go and lose in the Gold Cup? You still played for the national team.
exactly. And then North Carolina's Nelson Flores is playing with the El Salvador national team.
Hmm.
And then I think I saw earlier today that Chattanooga's goalkeeper Ricardo Harris is playing with the Guatemalan national team.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah. So 3 players in international duty right now.
yeah,
I know Championship has a ton of players on international duty right now too. So
yeah. I think there's 11 that are
yeah,
playing from championship.
something like that. Yeah, but that's that's good. That's great for USL in general is to see that many guys going up to play with their international teams because that just further legitimizes your organization when you can send guys up to the international team because they're good enough to play, and
Yeah,
especially um, Summersall going up and starting tonight. It
yeah,
just a League One guy starting against the U.S. men's national team is huge.
yeah. That's a really good marketing opportunity.
Hmm.
See, this guy is laying on the ground and he's cramping up, and they're not giving him a hot shot.
Oh,
See,
missed
more
opportunity.
evidence that women are tougher than men.
True. True. Yeah. I'm not gonna make the joke I was gonna make. We'll move on.
So there was another bit of news released. Well, I wouldn't say that League One releases news, but the newest ELO ratings came out about a week ago. They came out on the 23rd of June, and some surprising ratings for the League One clubs. Um, Looks like Northern Colorado is your far and away winner as far as the ELO ratings goes. Um, and then it's pretty close between Charlotte, Ford, Madison, and North Carolina. Richmond and Greenville are tied
And
in
one Knox.
these, and One Knox
Hmm.
are all tied in these rankings. Um, Union Omaha edged out Tormenta, and then from there, Lexington has a bit of space above Central Valley Fuego, and Chattanooga's at the very bottom.
Hmm.
I can't say I'm terribly surprised about some of these placements, but A couple of these I'm genuinely surprised about. I'm I'm not surprised that Northern Colorado is number one because they deserve to be that high. Charlotte being number two, I'm perfectly fine with. Madison, North Carolina at four, but the Richmond, Greenville, One Knox being all tied in this
Mhm.
rating system is really surprising to me. And I'm happy that they recognized the difference between Central Valley and Chattanooga as well. They recognize that Central Valley is better than what their current standing is.
Mhm. Yeah. It's definitely interesting to see um, ELO rankings. 'Cause, I mean, in one hand, it's all just numbers and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it is kind of weird to see how the numbers actually correlate to a lot of on the field performance, and it seems like it is fairly accurate as well. So
Yeah,
it's always
I agree.
crazy to see that like you can just take the raw data and type it in, and it comes up with. So, I mean, if you look, um, Rich has our power rankings that we did this week, and the ELO ratings and the power rankings that we did are pretty damn close to what
Are they
to what
really?
it is. Yeah,
I didn't put them side by side. Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah,
yeah,
we totally need to do that.
yeah. It's so it just. I mean, the eye test and the ELO rankings apparently all coincide together, which I would not have guessed. I would have guessed that my eyes would have been a little bit worse than mathematic equations, but
Now in the power rankings, you and I were fairly close. We each had the same groups of three going down the table.
mm,
We just had them in like different orders.
yeah, I
And
think
so
the only ones that we had in the same spot were Northern Colorado at number one, um, and Tormenta at 10.
yeah.
Yeah, those are the
But
only ones that we agreed on.
aside from that, they were close enough that our picks were essentially neighbors of it with all of
Oh
our
yeah, hmm,
choices. So we didn't have any like drastic like what the fuck are you thinking there
yeah. No, I feel
type of
like
thing.
all of these teams are pretty interchangeable, especially the top six. I feel
Yeah.
like the top three by the end of the season might change a little bit, but that's pretty much what you're going to see. And then the bottom three, with a little bit of pressure maybe from the outside two, are going to be somewhere between those teams between fourth and ninth. It's just, and but who knows, because they don't play similar games, but they have similar runs of form.
So I feel weird saying this. I know that we're going to be doing like a mid-season show here pretty soon, but I feel weird saying this, but I've kind of felt this for the past few weeks. I feel like 5 of the 6 playoff spots have already been claimed.
Ooh, wow.
Um, and I think we can talk a little bit more about that during the mid-season show, but that's where I currently sit um, on the playoff situation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit.
But
Um,
now that I'm sitting here looking at the standings, like I don't know, man. There could be plenty of drama going down the line.
yeah, very well could be for sure. That's League One, man. That's just how we roll.
I already have my picks for the final too,
Oh wow.
and I think that's going to be very surprising for people when we do the mid-season show.
Right, looking forward to it. Got some work
Yeah.
to do then. Um, but looking ahead here to week 16, we already talked about Madison getting the win tonight versus Tormenta. But on Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time, North Carolina takes on Charlotte in the Dogwood Derby. Hopefully, no beer showers or anything like that this time. Saturday at 6 p.m., we've got Greenville hosting Madison at 6 p.m. as well. Richmond hosting Chattanooga, and League One After Dark on Saturday night. Central Valley hosts Union Omaha.
Oh yeah.
And then Sunday, we've got Lexington hosting Tormenta at 6 o'clock Central Time.
Oh, there's some good matchups here.
A lot of good matchups. I'm looking forward to the Dogwood Derby. That one has been kind of the premier derby as far as spots in the table are concerned this season
Yeah.
so far. So um, looking forward to that one. And then obviously Union Omaha and Central Valley.
And Madison doesn't have to worry about any of the travel constraints because they're staying in the southeast,
Mm-hmm.
going from Statesboro to Greenville.
Yeah, I heard that today. They're just going to stay down there.
Yeah. And then Richmond and Chattanooga. I think Richmond and Chattanooga, I don't know if they've played this season. Let me look that up really quick. Chattanooga, yeah, they played in week 12 and it was separated by a single goal. Chattanooga visited City Stadium in week 12 and lost 0-1. So this is going to be a fun week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And that Lexington Tormenta one, I will say, is going to be a little bit sneaky because it's
That,
two very similar teams. Two
yeah.
teams that need to start getting their poop in a group, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I like it. I think that one is going to be a lot of fun to watch too.
it's nice that there's not 3 matches on Saturday at 6 p.m. So it's a little bit
Mhm.
more spread out. We can watch a lot more matches without having to go back and rewatch them this week.
And Lexington supporters better show up, man, for that one Sunday night. That's going to be a fun one.
I'm sure they
Show up
will.
and be loud.
They've been doing well so far
Yeah.
this season, so I don't expect anything less from the Lexington faithful out there.
Yeah. That'll be cool. We did get one question in the Twitter sphere. This one came from Alex Ashton. You can find him on Twitter at AlexRVA. He's the guy who is in charge of League One Updater, so you know the man behind the mask. His question for us was maybe the Bulls putting up all-star quality performance. Which players do you feel have been underwhelming based on expectations so far? I do feel as if we've beat this one to a pulp. Um, I don't name any specific. All I will say is, if you've listened to our previous episodes, my opinion on those specific players has not changed.
Yeah. What players do I feel like have been underperforming based on expectations for Union Omaha? Underperforming, I feel like Steven Dos Santos should probably have a higher goal total than he does. I think he's sitting on what, one or two goals.
One or two, yeah.
Yeah.
I think two if you include US Open Cup. I think he scored a goal in the US Open Cup.
I remember he scored one against Central Valley the first time we played him.
Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time remembering the next time that he did score. So, um, and especially coming in being the leading scorer for championship. I mean, a championship squad. Like, yeah, the expectations were very high. So, um, he's one I feel like is a little bit underwhelming based on expectations. Other than that, I mean, really, the defense kind of the center backs for me are a little bit underwhelming. Um, they've had their problem spots this year. That's for sure. But there's still time to fix it and turn around. But yeah, I'd say Steven Dos Santos up top, and then our two center backs, or actually
Swahi and
our
Palacios.
Swahi and Palacios. But honestly, our entire four back system that we've used between
Would you throw Mash Antonio in that as well?
I would throw him in there based on my expectations of him after seeing him last season as compared to this season.
Because I feel like Marco on the left side has been very good, especially in recent weeks. He has been
He's definitely
very,
come
very
in.
good.
Yeah, he's definitely come in the past few weeks for sure.
And then on the
Um,
right side with Shaft and Dion, I feel like those two are like completely interchangeable.
oh yeah, and when Dominic brought off um, Shaft and then brought on Dion Akoff, I turned to Colin at the game and I was like, "That's a like for like sub. They're the same fucking guy, like
Yeah, it's like Luis Heel and Joe Gallardo in the midfield.
same guy."
It's like, yeah, it's like for like, yeah.
Hmm.
So I agree with you. The center back situation,
I think it's just a parenting issue. I don't think he's
yeah.
quite figured out who can play with who in what situations quite yet.
And I think there's also a formation issue that you'll be seeing resolved here soon.
Hmm.
I think I've texted you some stuff here, um, but I think that's going to be resolved here pretty soon as well.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean it's also a new system, so I mean take everything with a grain of salt. Like underwhelming doesn't mean obviously that I think they're bad players or that that they don't deserve a spot on the team. It's just they based on expectations before the season started. I mean, with where Omaha's sitting now, I mean, you really could be hard pressed to say the entire team isn't underwhelming right now, but
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with it.
there was stuff that you and I were texting back and forth about weeks ago, and like suddenly in the past couple of weeks, we're looking at the film thinking, "Holy shit!" Like they're doing what we said they should do.
Hmm. Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like Dom knows what he's doing or something.
Yeah,
Weird how that works, right? You get hired for a job and you just know how to do your job.
yeah. So yeah,
Well, yeah, we
um,
appreciate the question, Alex. So thanks
yeah.
for sending that in.
Well, we have a great slate of matches ahead of us here in Week 16 of the League One season. It all started off tonight with a Madison 1-0 victory on the road against Tormenta. We'll be covering that here in the weeks, next week or whatever. We'll be covering a mid-season match. We'll have more interviews here in the coming weeks as well. So we certainly have a lot of plans here in the
Hmm.
works, and if you want League One action, you know where to come. Both to us over to Walking 90, League One Under the Sea, all the various podcasts out there at Fuego, Talking Flock, Who Gives a Hoot, um, you know, Tyler
Crane kicks
Crane, he's got
legs, yeah.
Crane Kicks Lex.
League One
So, I mean, there's
updater, they're all
League One
just
Updater.
tons.
Get out there. Obviously we're going to give you some League One action. If you want other League One stuff, hit the ones that we just talked to you about. There's other ones that are going to be popping up here pretty soon. We've heard rumblings about some podcasts starting at other clubs who don't have a podcast yet, so we'd be more than happy to support those podcasts and giving them some hype here on the show and bringing them on here to talk about their efforts and everything. So we just want to bring all the League One action we can at you and make sure it's good stuff too.
Yeah, definitely. That's been a priority. I mean, the thing about doing the show is I wanted to make a show that I would want to listen to at work so that other people can listen to it at work. So
Yeah.
do it for you guys. And it's fun
Yep.
for us too, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, we're sitting here looking at 2 hours now, and I mean, yeah, we're still having fun.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Forget how many shows we're at this point. It's quite a few now, though. It's about a full season now. It's like we started
Yeah.
about halfway through last season. We're about halfway through this season, so
I think we're pretty close to that year mark for our first show. I'll have to take a look, but yeah, I think we're pretty close to that 1 year mark.
yeah, we're gonna have to figure something out. We're gonna have to do something for a 1 year anniversary show.
Yeah. Get all dressed up.
Hmm.
Black tie affair.
I'll do it.
I'll do it too. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of League One on the Rocks. My name is Rich. That is Brian. We'll be back with you with more content. Check us out on Twitter, where we post a lot of our stuff. We'll continue bringing all the good stuff.
All right, thanks, guys.
See ya.